Galavina, Guia Dolosana, Angito Talitakini and Navarro and Bula FM at Golden Point Resort, Basendo Nambandana Here, Vinaka.
Bula Vinaka, Navan Gotevita, Utungwe 90, and the Talita Wale and Bula FM, Nambandu and said.
Nadango Makilesi, where Kraki and Lesbian and Bula FM, Nambandanas.
Hello, Ratu Kitchen in Gotabo, and do Talita Navarro and Bula FM, and Moldo and Sere,
Bula FM, number 2 and Ser.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Tonight, $19 million payout to help families living below the poverty line. Temporary shelters and medicines flown in by UNICEF to help recover from tropical cyclone Winston. And more evacuees return home as situation improves post-cyclone. $19.9 million will be paid to more than 43,000 families living under the poverty line next Friday. Finance Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum has announced this includes a top-up to the current benefits under the social welfare protection programs. Farzana Nisha has more.
The $19 million payout is meant to help people cope financially after the devastation left behind by Tropical Cyclone Winston.
It is very critical that we look after those people who are below the poverty line, those pensioners who receive a current pension, and of course those families that are looking after children. Because the reality is that many homes in Fiji have been hit very adversely, and some of them quite catastrophically, and they do need the assistance.
About 23,000 recipients under the Poverty Benefit Scheme will get a $200 top-up and be paid a lump sum of $600 to cover for the next 3 months. Over 3,200 families under the Care and Protection Scheme will receive a total of $300 to cover for 3 months. 17,232 pensioners over the age of 68 will also get an additional $300.
We ask people to use this money wisely. Please, this money is being given to you and to your families and to your children for them to be able to use it in the right manner, for them to be able to use it for the basic necessities of life and to help you and give you a leg up in life so you don't get left behind. Please do not use this to buy grog or cigarettes.
This assistance is just a top-up. The normal monthly assistance that they get in terms of the food vouchers and the payments will continue from next month. This is a one-off payment.
Arrangements will be made with banks to ensure that money is dispatched by next Friday. Farzana Nisha, FBC News.
Teachers from Queen Victoria School in Tailevu waited outside the Prime Minister's office in Suva for more than 5 hours today. Vice Principal Osea Koli says they want senior students to resume classes at QVS from next week, despite a ministerial directive to close the school.
32 teachers from Queen Victoria School are tonight seeking the Prime Minister's intervention to keep QVS open and resume classes for senior students. QVS Vice Principal Koli says there are enough facilities at the boarding school.
We made an oral assessment. We looked at and saw that there are about 7 classrooms altogether that are operable. Given a little touch-up, we would be able to go into the classroom 1 week after that. There are 2 labs that are working presently. One physics lab is out, but the chemistry and the biology lab we can use those after 1 week of repair.
Teachers from QVS have been redeployed to other schools and are to report for duty from tomorrow. These teachers, though, insist that seniors at QVS should return and want Prime Minister Vorengen Bainimarama's endorsement. Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says any teacher can be deployed to any school as and when required. Dr. Reddy says if these teachers don't report to their new schools tomorrow, they may lose their jobs. He's also questioned the motives of the teachers, calling it selfish to call back students from years 11 to 13 and not consider years 9 and 10. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
Meanwhile, students of Ratukandavu Level School have resumed classes 3 weeks after Tropical Cyclone Winston. The school was spared any major damage and has cleared out all the debris left behind. Sainiani Boiler reports there are additional classes to cover for lost teaching hours.
Students of Ratukandavu Level School walked back into class with memories of the ordeal still fresh in their minds.
This tropical cyclone Winston really affected my studies because this year I will be sitting for FGC.
For me, I have to start again with my coverage and studies for the FSOC. I really don't know where to start. It's all messed up at the moment.
More than 100 RKS students returned to classes today, a fraction of just over 1,000 students that make up the school roll. School management say most of the students are trickling slowly because they have to be picked up from different parts of Vitilevu. Vice Principal Pio Vivoli says it won't be easy to get students back on track, but they are determined not to let TC Winston disrupt anyone's education.
Put in place extra classes. Like this evening we are going to have evening class, and also tomorrow morning we are having a morning class, 1 hour each. That is in the morning from 6 to 7. This is to cater for the year 12 and year 13, the days that we have missed.
Parents, old scholars, soldiers from the RFMF and students spent the weekend cleaning up so that classes could resume today. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Schools across the country hit by Cyclone Winston can expect to be up and running soon with temporary classrooms and shelters. This is being made possible with UNICEF flying in an extraordinary relief package. Maggie Boyle with the details.
With more than 60,000 children afflicted by Cyclone Winston, the United Nations Children's Fund chartered a plane, loaded about 100 tons of relief supplies and sent it over. UNICEF specific representative Karen Allen says the supplies are aimed at the education and health sectors,
particularly at the request of the honourable ministers who wanted tents and tarpaulins and school kits of stationery on the one hand, and for health, medicines and vitamins for mothers and children, including pregnant mothers.
Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says badly damaged schools will now be able to resume classes.
This will help us now to fulfill the demand that we have in terms of resuming the classes at schools which is at the moment closed, particularly some of the schools in the interior of Ra and the rest in the eastern division, Banwambalabu, Koro Island, Tabiuni, as well as Ovalau.
Assistant Health Minister Veena Bhatnagar says the medical supplies will provide nutrients which have been lost in damage caused by the cyclone.
Preventative measures are our focus right now because we do not want an influx of diarrhea, typhoid, dengue fever, because after the aftermath of Cyclone Winston, children especially are prone to getting these diseases.
This UNICEF assistance is valued at close to $3 million. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Meanwhile, tents are already being put up in cyclone-ravaged parts of Fiji to be used as temporary classrooms. Udini Vanua District School in Verata Tailevu was yesterday handed a tent for 15 kindergarten students.
Hundreds of tents like this one will serve as classrooms for thousands of students. Prime Minister Vorengem Bainimarama was on hand to deliver the temporary classroom.
The kindi are not coming to school because of that. It's their safety which we are concerned with, and we are fortunate that the Prime Minister is coming over this afternoon with this tent which is at the back, so that can be used by the kindi before a new one will be built.
This wooden building was used as a kindergarten since 1993, but was badly damaged during the cyclone 3 weeks ago.
You know how to read? Okay. Would you like a library to be built or books supplied?
The kindergarten students asked for new chairs, a library and books, all of which the Prime Minister has promised to deliver. Tents like this one and even larger ones have been provided by donor agencies to ensure that classes are undisrupted for thousands of students whose schools have been damaged. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, including more women in the business sector.
Yandra! I love listening to Gold FM at Golden Point Resort. Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Hola, my name is General from Bakri Village. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic.
I'm Moses from Valeu. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Marida Manako. I'm from Kandavu. I like listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
My name is Tilipa from Tagua Town. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Vegetable prices have shot up around the country due to the impact of tropical cyclone Winston. FBC News visited a few vegetable stands around Suva to check out the new prices. Some vegetables which normally sold for $1 or $2 before the destruction of tropical cyclone Winston are now being sold for double, if not triple, their usual price.
These days, vegetables being sold at Bailey Bridge are quite high, and this is all due to tropical cyclone Winston.
Bananas that would normally start from $3 a bundle are now starting at $7. Carrots, cucumbers and cabbage that on a normal day sells for $1 for 3 or 4 are now selling for $2. Taronga says they have received a number of complaints from customers.
Everyone who comes to buy from here, they scream out of shock at the price because it's too expensive, but they buy it anyway.
A normal size English cabbage on any other given day would sell from anywhere between $1 to $3. At another market stall in Suva, we were shocked to find the asking price for just one round English cabbage was $15. Taronga explained that they are experiencing a shortage in supply of many vegetables.
There is a shortage of supply of cabbage, lettuce, cucumber and chilies. This is why we have increased the prices of these.
The price increases are following the economic law of supply and demand. As the supply goes down, the price goes up. The government has relaxed import duty on sawn timber and plywood to help rebuild schools and homes post-tropical cyclone Winston. National Planning Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum says duty has also been reduced for electrical cables from 32% to 5%. Excise duty has been reduced from 10% to 5%. The waivers will be enforced until April.
Importing sawn timber and plywoods will now only attract a 5% duty, and the import excise duty on both the items will be fully waived. Of course, you have to pay VAT, but the duty has now been reduced to 5%, and there won't be any import excise duty.
This is to help people who've lost their homes and businesses in the cyclone. The National Disaster Management Office has confirmed that only one village in the interior of Navosa is yet to receive food rations and relief supplies. Director Fbctv Fangalele says they have reached all the other affected areas. Shireen Shivan reports.
People living in Sonoko village in Navosa have not received government ration. Director NDMO Fbctv Fangalele says the village has been inaccessible and they are now deploying helicopters.
Public now is to be patient. For example, Central Division, they are now on their second round of rationing, provision of ration. There could be one or two communities or maybe households that are sort of being missed. These are gaps, and all we ask of them is that the government will come to your door. It may be later, okay, but be assured that the government will not miss out anybody.
Fangalele says the advisory councillors in various areas need to work with the government officials in these instances.
The onus is on them to provide as required. They're from the government side, especially from the divisional commissioners, whatever that needs to go out to the individual community, including the the individual families. Those are the ones that are being provided.
He says the Fiji Red Cross has so far assisted more than 10,393 households. The NDMO also confirms that evacuation centers are slowly being closed, with families able to return home as the situation improves. Sharin Shivan, FBC News.
International donors who've stepped in to help Fiji after tropical cyclone Winston say they are partners in good times and bad. Tens of millions of dollars have been pledged in cash and kind, what is likely to be the largest combined aid program for Fiji. Kelly Vadala has the details.
Australia, New Zealand, Japan and the European Union, some of the largest contributors to relief efforts, have conveyed their sympathy and support for cyclone-ravaged Fiji. European Union Head of Delegation Ambassador Andrew Jacob says Fiji is trying to get up on its feet again, and with the materials provided by the 4 international donors, members of Parliament can address important keynotes.
This is a time to stand strong and united, and the European Union and all the donors present here today are committed to providing considerable assistance to the country.
Japanese Ambassador to Fiji Takuchi Hanatani says that Japan will support Fiji government in rebuilding efforts over the coming months.
My deepest sympathies to the people of Fiji for the loss of lives and suffering caused by tropical cyclone Winston. Japan stands with the government of Fiji in partnership with the international community for working towards the earliest recovery of the nation.
All 4 international partners donated books to the Fiji Parliament, aimed to help members of Parliament better conduct their work. Speaker of the House Dr. Chikuluveni also touched on the much-needed assistance that has been pouring after tropical cyclone Winston.
Also currently witnessing, after the vast destruction of Cyclone Winston, a tremendous display of overwhelming support and acts of kindness by the countries you represent, to unselfishly step in to assist our nation in our time of need.
Library materials included books, journals and online subscriptions that will enable members of Parliament to have up-to-date resources when preparing for Parliament sittings. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The South Pacific Stock Exchange has taken up the cause of gender equality. Marking International Women's Day, the SPSE has generated discussion on whether there should be more women on the boards of publicly listed companies. Ellen Stolz has the story.
South Pacific Stock Exchange Chief Executive Latile Tangoro says it's a shame that there are only 5 women out of 90 directors for public listed companies.
It's staggering, but more and more research has come to light over the past few years, 2011 onwards, justifying the business case for a listed company when you do involve women in positions of leadership.
Leading by example, Managing Director of Please Beverages, Warwick Please, has 3 women on the board and supports the inclusion of more women in large businesses.
It's absolutely clear to us that there's a lot of benefits from that because women have different perspectives, different values. They have different values about justice, law and order, compassion, empathy, and the big ones for a business, customer service and value for money.
The head of FMF Group, Ram Bajikal, says women leaders have a lot to offer, which will only help grow profits.
When you look at your customer base, you have 50% of your customers being women. If you're excluding people who are sensitive to women issues, then you're excluding people who understand women, so understand half the population, half your customer base. So it makes immense sense to bring in women.
FBC spoke to everyday Fijians on what International Women's Day means to them.
Because they can play a man's role in a family, a father's role and a mother's role. Both roles they can play.
Happy Women's Day. And a woman is very important in the family because they all are breadwinner.
This year's theme for International Women's Day is Pledge for Parity. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and good evening. Coming up in sports. Good news for fans wanting to watch the World Rugby Pacific Challenge at the NZ Stadium. And an emotional Waisele Serevi proud of Fiji's performance in Las Vegas. We'll have these stories and more after the break.
मैं हूँ रेहान खान कुरबो तालेबू के जैसे फेस्टिवल ए ग्रेड है कुरबो में उसी तरह मिर्ची एफएम नंबर 1 है कुरबो में
एलिन लटका में मिर्ची एफएम को लॉक कर दिया जाए मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट
हम नकाशी से साइमान है हमारा फेस्टिवल जैसे नंबर 1 है वैसे मिर्ची एफएम नंबर 1 है
माय नेम इज दिनेश हम नैनी में काम करता है स्लीपिंग जायंट जिपलाइन में और मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट आई लाइक इट
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट
Vodafone Fiji Sevens captain Jose Kolinisau believes teamwork was key to winning the Las Vegas Sevens yesterday and that they will need to maintain this if they are to take out the Vancouver Sevens this weekend. Josephine Navula has more.
Sitting at the top of the HSBC World Sevens Series points table, the Vodafone Fiji Sevens team is the target of every team at the upcoming Vancouver Sevens.
Chile was a tough opponent, especially overcoming South Africa, a very good South African team. But we hold on to our faith this week, although we lost to Samoa. But we said that we have our faith in the Lord, and without our faith in the Lord, that we need to work hard for it.
The 21-15 win against Australia was all determination from the players, going back to take the lead after trailing 15-0 at half-time. Captain Jose Kolinisau says the players put everything on the line for this win.
We worked really hard towards it. We had only 10 players, but our faith in each other and our faith in the Lord came out quite pleasing this afternoon.
Fiji's first match is against Samoa at 6:14 a.m. on Sunday, followed by Portugal at 9:50 a.m. The last pool outing against Kenya will be at 2 p.m. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
Fijian Sevens legend Waisale Serevi could not hold back his tears after the win in Las Vegas yesterday. In an interview with World Rugby, the maestro spoke about how the victory will influence the lives of struggling Fijians. Rohit Deo tells us more.
To come overseas and do this.
An emotional Waisale Serevi reflecting the sentiments of the multitude of Fijians. A bittersweet moment as Fiji lifted the Las Vegas Sevens trophy.
I salute Ben Ryan and all the boys for the effort. I know that this week a lot of them were a little bit sick, and for them to win this, it means a lot. Not only winning in Vegas because they won last year. I think back at home, a lot of people are looking for a house and what to eat in the next couple of months. But this one alone makes people happy at home.
Serevi adds the win has come at the right time when people need inspiration and strength to overcome hard times.
It makes everyone happy, people back at home and people that are here, especially the things that Fiji is facing at the moment. There are a lot of things happening, but for them to win here, I'm so proud of the boys, and I was like saying all along that I want Fiji to win, not only to win, but to dedicate this to the people back at home who are struggling.
The former Fiji captain and coach also reflected on how competitive the World Sevens Series has become. Serevi believes a win in this weekend's Vancouver Sevens will give further encouragement to the people here at home. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Junior Japan defeated Tonga 26-8 in the first match of the World Rugby Pacific Challenge today. The Japanese sent a much more experienced team to this year's tournament, and this was evident in the match as they outclassed the Tongans in nearly every aspect of the game. Japan takes on the TFL Fiji Warriors in their next match at Suva's NZ Stadium at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Entry fees to the 2016 World Rugby Pacific Challenge has been waived in light of the recent events pertaining to the destruction and recovery from Tropical Cyclone Winston. The Fiji Rugby Union, in partnership with World Rugby and with the support of the Fiji Sports Council, has announced that entry to the games will be free this year. FRU CEO John O'Connor confirmed this, saying the FRU made the decision to allow fans to come to the NZ Stadium and support their favorite teams without the extra burden of paying. The second match of the day is currently underway with the TFL Fiji Warriors taking on Samoa A. Meanwhile, New Zealand will be without their star Sonny Bill Williams for this week's Vancouver Sevens. A knee injury forced him out of the Las Vegas event and he has returned to New Zealand for further treatment.
Certainly his knee, a bit of swelling. Certainly wasn't well enough to play in this tournament, and the swelling really hadn't gone down, so we elected to leave him out in Canada next week as well.
The Vancouver Sevens starts this Saturday, and of course you can watch it live right here on Fbctv. That is your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with the business.
Fiji Broadcasting Corporation is adopting green technology. FBC has signed a 12-year contract with Greenco to install solar-assisted hybrid air conditioners and energy-efficient LED lighting. FBC Chief Financial Officer Vimlesh Sagar says the equipment is environmentally friendly and will help reduce the effects of climate change.
As a responsible entity, we have taken a proactive approach, and we have done a bit of research and analysis, and we have come to an agreement with Greenco Energy Solutions, who have given us a proposal which is not only cost effective, but at the same time will have positive effects in reducing energy consumption.
The company is also expected to save money on electricity costs. Digicel Fiji has been issued its broadcast license to operate a pay TV service. Attorney General Ayaz Said Qayyum confirms there are 3 licenses, the other 2 being a spectrum license and a special license under the Media Industry Development Decree. Digicel Fiji was yesterday handed its 12-year license to run pay TV services.
They cannot advertise on Sky Pacific. Normal advertisement cannot take place unless all the 3 free-to-air providers agree to it. So all 3 of them have veto powers. Only if and when all 3 of them agree, then they can carry out local advertising.
There is to be no local content on any pay channel unless there are messages of national importance. There was fine weather across the country today. Temperatures were in all centres crossed into the 30s today. Lombasa and Ba were a hot 33 degrees Celsius this afternoon. For tomorrow, expect fine weather with possible afternoon or evening showers. And the further outlook is brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers elsewhere. Easterly winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. And recapping the main stories for tonight. $19 million payout to help families living below the poverty line. Temporary shelters and medicines flown in by UNICEF to help recover from tropical cyclone Winston, and more evacuees return home as situation improves post-cyclone. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our weekly poll question for this week, we are asking, will Fiji bounce back from tropical cyclone Winston? To answer, visit our FBC website. You've been watching FBC News. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. I'm Jackie Spate. Bye for now.
I'm Sarah, I'm from Tafwa, and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Freddy, I'm from Tonga. I listen to Mario on the traffic jam every afternoon.
Hi, my name is Salah, I live in Asinu. Today FM rocks.
My name is Denasa and I'm from Lutoka, and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Hulamila, I work at Golden Point Resort. I love listening to Today FM, it rocks in Raki.
I'm Mary from Mandera. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
We love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.